On the coldest Christmas Eve the city had seen in decades, when icy winds howled through empty streets and even the bravest souls hurried home to warmth, a moment unfolded that would change 3 lives forever, beginning with a man named Adrian Cole, a millionaire known for his booming businesses, flawless suits, and the loneliness he hid behind them. Adrian had always lived life like a machine, moving from boardroom to boardroom, country to country, success to success, but never pausing long enough to feel anything real. Yet this night was different, because something inside him felt hollow, a strange ache he couldn't explain, as if the cold outside had somehow seeped into his chest. After finishing a charity gala he barely paid attention to, he dismissed his driver and chose to walk through the lightly falling snow, the city lights glowing softly like fading embers. That was when he heard it, a weak, trembling cry that drifted through the wind. At first, he ignored it, assuming it was just the distant sound of someone rushing through the cold, but the cry came again, softer yet sharper, like a plea wrapped inside pain. Curiosity mixed with concern tugged at him, pulling his steps toward a dark corner of the street where a woman sat curled against the stone wall of an abandoned building, her arms wrapped tightly around a shivering little girl who looked no older than 4. Their clothes were soaked with melting snow, their bags covered in frost, and the child's tiny fingers were turning frighteningly blue. The mother's lips trembled as she tried shielding the girl with her own thin coat, whispering, "It's okay, baby, mommy's here," even though her voice was breaking under the weight of misery. Adrian froze, stunned by the scene. He had donated millions to charitable foundations, yet he had never seen suffering this raw and immediate right before his eyes. He approached slowly, and the woman flinched, pulling her daughter closer as if expecting danger, not knowing that the stranger in front of her had more money than entire neighborhoods combined. "Please, we're fine," she whispered through chattering teeth, embarrassed, frightened, and desperate all at once. But they weren't fine, not even close. Adrian removed his expensive coat without hesitation and draped it around them both, and the woman gasped at the sudden warmth, tears immediately filling her eyes. He asked what happened, and she explained in broken fragments. Her name was Elena, and the child was Lily. She had been evicted 2 days earlier when her landlord sold the building, and after losing her job months before, she had nowhere to go. Shelters were full due to the storm, buses had stopped running, and she had been sitting there praying her daughter could hold on until morning. Every word she spoke cut through Adrian like a blade because he remembered being a child in a situation not so different, a mother who struggled, a life on the edge, a past he had tried hard to bury under wealth. Without thinking further, he scooped Lily into his arms, shocked by how cold she was, and helped Elena to her feet, urging them toward his car. She protested weakly at first, afraid of being a burden, afraid of trusting a stranger, but Adrian's voice held a gentle firmness that made something inside her finally let go. The car heater blasted warm air as he wrapped Lily in blankets stored for emergencies, and for a moment, the child blinked up at him, her eyes half open, then nestled into her mother's chest. During the drive to his mansion, a place Elena could not even imagine belonged to someone willing to stop for a freezing stranger, Adrian kept glancing at the rearview mirror, watching the fragile hope returning to their faces. When they arrived, Elena froze at the sight of the massive home glowing with golden lights, the kind of place she would have only seen in magazines. Adrian insisted gently, helping them inside where warmth flooded over them like sunlight. He offered food, blankets, and hot showers, and as Elena warmed up and Lily fell asleep on the couch, the millionaire who had spent a lifetime surrounded by wealth realized he had never felt so profoundly human. Over the next hours, they talked about life, struggles, losses, dreams, and for the first time in years, Adrian listened from the heart. Elena shared the story of working 2 jobs, raising Lily alone after her husband abandoned them, and falling behind on rent when her workplace shut down unexpectedly. Every sentence carried the weight of battles she fought silently, with no one to lean on. Adrian felt something shift inside him, something old and buried rising to the surface, empathy, compassion, and a longing to do more than just give money. When morning came, Christmas morning, Adrian walked into the living room to find Elena preparing to leave quietly, her daughter wrapped in his blankets, ready to face the cold again. "We can't stay here," she whispered when she realized he had seen them. "You've already done so much for us." But Adrian shook his head firmly. He could not bear the thought of them returning to that hopeless reality. He asked Elena what she wanted, not what she needed for a night, but what she truly needed to rebuild her life. After a long silence, she whispered, "A chance." Those 2 words became the spark that changed everything. Adrian offered her a permanent job at one of his companies, an apartment owned by his real estate division, and full support to get back on her feet. Elena broke down in tears, tears of relief, of disbelief, of hope resurrected from nothing. Lily ran into Adrian's arms without fear now, hugging him with the pure trust only a child could give, and something deep within him melted completely. Weeks turned into months, and Elena flourished, working hard, earning respect, becoming stronger and brighter each day. Lily grew healthier, happier, running through the halls of Adrian's home like she belonged there, filling the emptiness he didn't know existed. Adrian found himself visiting them often, drawn not by duty but by a warmth he had never experienced in all the years of wealth and isolation. Elena, once fragile from hardship, now carried a quiet strength that inspired him, and every moment spent with them chipped away the loneliness he had accepted as part of life. One spring evening, Elena knocked on his office door holding a small wrapped box. Inside was a framed drawing Lily had made, the three of them holding hands under a Christmas tree with the words, "You saved us," written in crayon. Adrian stared at the drawing, and something inside him broke open, a truth he had long ignored: saving them had saved him too. Elena whispered, "You changed our lives," and he replied softly, "You changed mine." And dear viewers, if this story touched your heart even a little, don't forget to subscribe, because your support helps us bring more soul-touching stories like this, stories that remind us that kindness still exists, and that one moment of compassion can change someone's entire world, just like Adrian changed theirs on that freezing Christmas Eve.